So welcome to today's Live on Now session, Better Together Platform Analytics and Process Mining. This session's based on one we ran at Knowledge 24. The original session that we had scheduled sold out. Then we added a second session and that one also sold out. So we figured it was a good idea to have a webinar and get the content recorded and out there so it would be available in perpetuity. So today's session is going to focus on how we can use these two aspects of the ServiceNow intelligent platform to give process stakeholders the whole story, to tell process stakeholders the whole story when it comes to their processes performance and how they can reduce inefficiencies and increase overall productivity. But before we get to the content, let's get some of the traditional logistics out of the way. This is the slide that says, hey, anything I say and do here today can't be held against me in the court of law. It's also the slide that says, hey, as part of this conversation, if we happen to make any forward-looking statements about things that might be coming on the ServiceNow platform, you should take them as forward-looking statements. Make no purchasing decisions based on them whatsoever because they're always subject to change. I'm assuming you've read the fine print. Just in terms of Q&A and questions and answers, please put your questions in the Q&A section. Depending on how things flow, I might not get to them to the end, but I promise you I will get to the questions. I know one of those questions is going to be, will this be recorded and posted? And the answer is yes. It will likely be posted tomorrow to the community site. It will be available in the Live on Now event section, as well as the Process Mining Product Hub on the community. There's tons of content there. We try to kind of centralize all of our process mining stuff in one place for you. Also, you're going to be getting a little survey at the end of this. Please take the time to fill it out. We're all about continual improvement here on the process mining team, and we always like to say, do the best you can until you know better. Then when we know better, we always try to do better. So the feedback is certainly welcome, as well as those questions. They help us improve. Who am I? My name is Dan Grady. I'm part of the process mining product team here at ServiceNow. What will we be covering today? Well, we'll start out briefly introducing the ServiceNow intelligent platform for those that aren't familiar. Then we'll talk about the complementary nature of ServiceNow's in-platform analytics and our in-platform process mining solutions. We'll share the different ways that those two are connected on the platform, and then we'll show you some of how that connection works live in a demonstration. And we're even going to take 5 minutes or so to create and mine a process mining project from scratch together, and then embed that visualized process map on a platform analytics dashboard. We'll get your questions answered, share some additional resources, and then we'll get you out of here. Seems like a lot, but we'll move pretty quickly, and it shouldn't take up too much of your day. All right, so I always like to start these sessions with a quote, and we picked this one for this session because it aligns perfectly with the major themes that we want you to walk away from this session with. Certainly, we want good results, but management by results is not the way to get good results. We need to work on the causes of those results. I mean, we like this because it speaks to the differentiation between information and insights, the what and the why, but it also the need to not just report the news, but actually to start creating and influencing the news with the data and insights that we have on the ServiceNow platform. Now, the first theme it aligns to is that the importance of extending the reach of data beyond the corner office and embedding information and insights in the flow of people's day-to-day lives throughout the organization. So much focus has historically been placed on executive and management level dashboards, the need to report the results. But the reality is the numbers on those executive and management level dashboards, they don't move just because we have executive and management level dashboards. They only start to move when we start to influence and change the behaviors of everyone else involved in delivering on those numbers. And that's the beautiful thing about the embedded intelligence on the ServiceNow platform. We're able to more directly use data and insights to improve the speed and quality of people's experiences, the decisions they make, and accelerate the pace in which things get done. We're able to do that because we are the platform people are doing work in. The closer you get to the front lines in an organization, the less likely you're going to get somebody to leave the system that they're working in to go to someplace else to look at numbers. And if we want to start using information and insights to change behaviors, we need to put it in the flow of people's day-to-day lives. Now, there are so many different components of the intelligence layer of the ServiceNow platform. And as customers, you get the benefit of the prepackaged out-of-the-box solutions that we create and bake into the different workflow offerings that we have. But you also get access to the foundational solutions themselves to create unique experiences that align to your specific needs. Today, we'll focus on how to combine two of those solutions to provide a more complete experience for your stakeholders and provide them both information and insights. So we want to get them to move from just reporting the news to actually creating and influencing it. Those two capabilities we'll focus on are performance or platform analytics. I'm not 100% sure what the official name is at the current moment, but I think most of us know it as performance analytics and process mining. So let's quickly talk about the difference between the two, and then we'll focus how we bring them together on the ServiceNow platform. So performance analytics is fantastic at helping us ask and answer these very important questions. How many tickets, incidents, cases did we work? Which types were they? How long did it take us to close them? And probably most importantly, are we hitting our targets and are we improving our cycle times? All super important questions that I hope you have dashboards just like this to help you ask and answer. But here's the deal. I've been doing this a little while, and one of the things I've learned is this. Information is one of the most addictive and contagious things out there. You give somebody a little bit, and they always want more. So the first thing that happens when we get a dashboard like this out the door is somebody starts asking questions like, why are we missing our CSAT or ESAT targets? Why are our closure times trending in that direction? Like, why? And the answers to those why questions, the insights we need to make improvements, don't always live in dashboards like this. This is where process mining comes to the rescue to help us ask and answer those follow-up why questions, like where is the process getting stuck? Where is the unnecessary rework happening? Where are we spending or wasting the most time? Which vendors are speeding us up and which ones are slowing us down? Or some of you might have already heard this, but my personal favorite, I've been around ServiceNow for a little while, mostly working with customers in the reporting and analytics space. And I've been asked for this same report so many times over the years that I've actually found out that it's got a name. It's called the finger pointing report. Like everybody wants to know who is holding on to the tickets, the cases, the incidents the longest. We need to know who's holding on to the work the longest. And if you're a more glass half full person, you call that the opportunity to improve report. But these are all the types of questions that process mining helps us ask and answer, all those follow-up why questions to give us the insights to actually improve those metrics on those dashboards. So essentially, we like to say that process mining helps us get to the why behind the KPIs, giving us visibility into the bottlenecks and inefficiencies in our processes, the rework, the ping pong, the slow and long transitions, all the things that are slowing us down, holding us back, and impacting the KPIs on those higher level dashboards. All right, so as you can see, performance analytics and process mining, very complementary, the what and the why, the information and the insights. I mean, we've been on a journey to bring these solutions together on the ServiceNow platform. I'm going to run you quickly through that journey in slides, and then we'll jump into the instance and we'll look at how some of these things work together live. So since the Rome release, you've had the ability to run ad hoc mining jobs from your analytics hubs, your KPI details pages, or even your list views. So if you were to drill down on a performance analytics KPI for closed incidents in, let's say, the month of April, in a single click, you could actually generate a visualized process map of those incidents to see how they were progressing to closure, right? So to get from a performance analytics KPI to a visualized process map of just those incidents behind that KPI. Or you could drill down on a report for customer service cases that breached SLA, and from the list that you get, immediately generate a visualized process map to see which teams were holding or transferring the tickets at breach time. Right, so since the Rome release, you've always had this ability, if you've turned on process mining, to get from your existing reports and analytics that you have out there behind the data to the process mining insights about the process itself. Now, so that's performance analytics and reporting to process mining. In Vancouver, we introduced the ability to add a visualized process map to your platform analytics dashboard. So just to be clear, this is the platform analytics dashboards, the older school dashboards. This widget, the process mining widget's not available for them. I always get asked that question. But since everybody is moving to platform analytics, we are where we need to be. So like I said, in Vancouver, we introduced this ability to add these visualized process maps to your platform analytics dashboards. And this allows you to tell a more complete story for process owners or line of business leaders or others in the organization. It also helps raise awareness that this level of visibility into process improvement opportunities exists. One of the things that we're learning more and more is that There's so many people out there inside of organizations that have no idea what process mining even is. So by putting this type of visualization on a dashboard that they're using on day to day, it helps kind of market to the organization that we can do better. There's another level that you can actually see about inside of your data to help you make improvements and drive productivity. In Washington, what we did is we added some initial drill down capability to the process maps you're adding to your dashboard. So you can drill down on a process map node, a state, or in this example, an assignment group, and get a better understanding of the incoming and outgoing work, right? This is super useful for team leads wanting to understand who is transferring or shipping work to them and where their teams are sending work out to. So being able to see the in and out of how work is moving between teams, really, really powerful. A ton of customers that we're working with were very interested in getting this capability added to the platform or this type of visibility. Then the last linkage we'll talk about today is the ability to embed process mining insights as part of your dashboard. So if you aren't overly familiar with process mining, in addition to the visualized process map, the solution also identifies improvement opportunities for you by flagging things like rework, ping pong, slow transitions. You also have the ability to create what we call rule-based improvement opportunities, where you specifically call out and tell the solution to look for a certain scenario. One of the more common improvement opportunities that we see customers focus in on are what we're calling idle time opportunities, where you have, let's say, work that's taking longer than 2 days to go from new to in progress, but then less than 2 hours to go from in progress to resolved. Think about all that time that's being wasted before we start the work, and all that productivity we could reclaim. And if it's only taking us less than 2 hours to actually do the work, very often there's automation opportunities living inside that set of data. So those are just, we have these improvement opportunities. One of the things that we've enabled in Washington is the ability to surface those improvement opportunities outside of the process mining workspace and inside of the insights panel that's in your platform analytics workspace. So based on the KPIs that you've put on a dashboard, we will surface relevant process mining improvement opportunities in that insights panel. It's a super powerful way to embed both information and insights in a single screen for a process stakeholder to take advantage of. All right, let's take a look at some of these things live inside of an instance. And the first thing that I'm going to bring up is just to kind of look at that from performance analytics or reporting to process mining scenario. So let's bring up this dashboard here. And I've got just a couple of simple visualizations and reports on this dashboard. And the first one that we might want to focus in on is maybe I've got the closed incidents trend chart here, and there might be like a little bit of a spike here in August, and I want to drill into that and understand what might be causing that, or some of the factors inside of here. And then what you'll notice is from this KPI details page, it's super tiny up here in the upper right. We're working to make that button a little bit bigger if we can get our design folks to jump on board here. But you've got this open in process mining little button here. And if you click on this, what it's going to do is it's going to drill down, mine the data that's inside of that KPI details page, the incidents that closed in the month of August, and then provide us a process mining project based on that data. And inside of that project, you're going to get your standard summary and insights page with those improvement opportunities I was talking about, the reworks, the ping pongs, and all those stuff, as well as your visualized process map for that data. So you can start digging in, continuing the conversation to get with the data, to get a better understanding of what might be impacting that spike in closed incidents or the work that was closed on that given period of time. So single click right from a KPI details page, you get into a process mining workspace. Let's come back here. Another example, right? That's performance analytics to process mining. This other one here is I've just got this standard report that's showing me incidents that have breached by CMDB class. And I can say, well, let me focus in on these ones that were in the computer class and drill down and get me to that list view of just those incidents that had breached for that certain class. And then what you'll notice on this screen here, if I come up to the top, is I've got my standard options of creating a bar or pie chart. But if you're entitled to process mining, you've got this launch process mining from the list view. Of course, there's certain roles that need to be applied, but you can go right from a list view to process mining to mine a subset of data that you drill down to from a report. And this will take you to the project configuration screen. You've got all your findings set up here. The one thing that I do want to point out is what's passed over to this is the filter criteria based on that list view. So you can see your computer class, the closed work, the task SLA has been produced. So it even carries over the related list conditions as well. And then right from here, right, you have that ability to mine this subset of data. So you could click on the mine button, it would run and mine that data. I'm not going to do that here, but wanted you to see that right from a list view, you also have the ability to get directly to process mining for a subset of data. All right, so that's performance analytics and reporting to process mining. Now let's look at kind of embedding that process mining dashboard or process mining map on a dashboard. So here I've got this dashboard. I've got some KPIs on this dashboard as well. And then you'll notice I've got a widget on the right-hand side that is a process map that's based on a process mining project. In this example here, what we're looking at is let's just zoom in a little bit here. We're looking at how the work is moving from team to team in the process rather than state to state in the process. And what we can do, just so you know, this process map can be aligned to the filter criteria that you have on the screen here. So if I want to look for, let's say, IT support, and just focusing on that IT support Americas team, I can apply this, and this will narrow down the map on the right to just focusing on that IT support Americas team. And then maybe I want to start drilling into this to get an understanding of the incoming and outgoing work on this team. So I can drill into this IT support Americas. Whoa, that's a little bit scary. So let's change the zoom or reduce the number of connections here, narrow it down. And I can also start focusing on just show me the work that's being transferred into that IT support Americas team and narrow it down just the incoming work. And then we might find this opportunity here. Well, look at these 53 coming from support IT that on average are taking 1 month to make that transfer into our team. Maybe I want to filter in and just focus in on those 53 that are coming in. You see here, there's some other ones that look like they're transferring, and that's because that work might have been transferred out from IT Support Americas to another team and then come back in. So now I can look at all the work that we're shipping out based on those 53 that were taking a long time to come in. So lots of flexibility to work with the process graph on this screen here and get an understanding of the incoming and outgoing work. One of the things that I will call out is in this safe harbor, right, in the X for Xanadu release, we will be adding the ability to drill down on these maps and get to the detailed records behind these. Then the last thing that I wanted to point out on this screen here is that insights panel. So you'll notice on the right-hand side of the screen here, I've got these insights that say quality issue, resolution rejected, or multi-hop situation. And some telling me that of these incidents, a certain percentage of them were going through multi-hops. These insights were powered and generated by the fact that there's a process mining project that has improvement opportunities in it that aligns to the KPIs on this screen. And you can drill down into the details of these right from here. So just that ability to start to surface some of those powerful insights that process mining is providing right on a dashboard without somebody having to go to the process mining workspace to see them. Really great way to start embedding these insights in the flow of people's day-to-day lives. All right, I see some questions are coming in. I'll get to those. I just want to cover one more topic before we get to the questions, and that is let's go through the process of creating a process mining project and embedding it on one of these dashboards. So what we'll do here is I'll come over to my process mining workspace. Actually, let's see if I already have it open. So we'll use this one here, and we'll say create a new process mining project. And this is the new guided setup experience that's in Washington, and we'll create a project called Better Together. Together, PA and PM. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to pick our table that we're going to mine the most demo data. And I'm just going to hit save and next. And then what we need to do is we need to scope and organize our project. It's just a couple of quick steps. The first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to filter our data. Just like you're building a report, you narrow your data set down based on the question that you want to answer. And when it comes to process mining, we typically want to focus in on work that has completed the process. So we add a filter of active as false. But then you would start saying, maybe I want to look at a certain time period, a certain category, a certain team, a certain channel, and just start to focus your analysis here. I don't have a specific use case, so I'm just going to leave it as active as false. and save that filter, sorry. Then you're going to add what is known as an activity. Like what is changing on the record that we want to look for bottlenecks in or patterns in. Usually you start with something like looking at how the work is moving from state to state in the process, or as you just saw on that other map, assignment group to assignment group. But you can do things like looking at how things are moving from priority to priority, or how things are being deprioritized in a process. And then, of course, you're going to want to have something called breakdowns to slice and dice your process map by category, by assignment group, by channel, by priority. You can have up to 10 of these breakdowns per project. I'm just going to add one in the interest of time here and click the next button. And then those improvement opportunities that we talked about, the ones that are going to be surfacing on that left-hand panel inside of your, the dashboards that are there, or on the summary and insights page inside of process mining. They come as part of content packs that we provide with process mining, but you also have the ability to configure your own. So we'll just add some of those to our projects, and we'll hit next, and we're done. We're going to get a summary of what we just configured there, and we're going to hit the mine button to mine the project. And this is going to go out. It's going to harvest the relevant audit log data. It's going to pass it off to the machine learning infrastructure to do all the heavy duty number crunching, so to avoid any sort of performance impact on the instance itself. And then it's going to spit the finished model back in. It takes anywhere from a couple of seconds to a couple of minutes, depending on the volume of data and the traffic that's going on there that day. But that's all it takes, right? Real quick, very easy to stand something like this up and get it running and going. In the interest of time, I'm not going to wait for this one to finish mining here. I'm just going to come back over here and use an existing one and add it to there, to the dashboard. So once that finishes and you have your finished process mining project and you want to add it to a dashboard, you'll simply come over here to the dashboard you want to add it to. You click on the edit button and you can say add a new element, right? And you're going to go see where you have data visualizations, filters, headings, but then you'll have an option called process mining map. So we'll add that process mining map to our dashboard. And then we're going to come here and we're going to search for the project that we want to add, right? I've got one that I've already mined, better together finished. I'll add this to the map. I can say number of connections. Let's just do 50% here. So we get a map. And then you've got this little option to say which case follow simulation, which is just going to kind of turn that on, and you'll see all the little ants that are running from state to state. That just gives you a visual representation of the volume and velocity between the different states on the map. And we're done. And we can hit save and we can exit editing mode. You've just seen how easy it is to create a process mining project, mine some of your process data, and then add that visualization on a map, or that visualization on a dashboard that you have inside of your organization. Really, really straightforward, really easy, great way to start to expose people to a whole new level of insights about their process data. All right, let's come back here to the slides. Last thing, and then we'll get to your questions that you're putting in there. If you've got questions, now is a good time to put them in the Q&A and we'll get them answered. So as you've seen, there's a very tight relationship between the analytics on the platform and process mining. So with process mining in the mix, you can start to tell a much more complete story to your audience. Now, the reporting on the platform is fantastic at helping us ask and answer one very important question. Where are we right now? Which is a very important question for so many operational use cases. But if I came to you and told you that you had 118 open incidents right now and asked you if that was good or bad, that was bad, just by knowing where you are right now, you wouldn't have all the information you need to answer that question. What performance analytics brings is the infrastructure and the engine to allow you to start snapshotting data over time. So you can not only answer the question of where you are right now, but you have the data points to answer where you were before. And now that you have both of those, you can answer the most important question of whether we are improving or not. Everything you're doing on the ServiceNow platform is focused on improving the way in which work gets done. Performance analytics gives you what you need to communicate that those improvements are actually happening. Now, in addition to that, performance analytics also gives you the ability to set targets aligned to your KPIs, so you can start to communicate to people in the organization where you want to be. You also get a forecasting engine, so you can get a sense of if everything stays the same, when will you hit your actual targets that you've set for yourselves? But as we all know, nothing stays the same, and we can't still sit still and do nothing. But by adding process mining into the mix, we get visibility into the levers we can be pulling in the organization to help us reach and outperform our targets more quickly, right? Tell that complete story. You have all the pieces at your disposal now to tell that complete story to your stakeholders in a single dashboard on the platform. Now, I had a colleague who had a great analogy to describe this situation. He said the reporting on the platform is kind of like a scoreboard at a game. It tells you the home team is up 28-27. It tells you how much time is left in the game, how many timeouts each team has, which is all useful information. But what it doesn't tell you is that the visitors just scored 27 straight points, and maybe the home team's best player just got hurt a few minutes ago. It gives you no visibility into the momentum inside of the game. And you'd hope that you'd coach or manage differently based on the momentum inside of the game. Performance analytics gives you visibility into that momentum inside of your business, right? And you're going to manage your business differently once you have that level of visibility into the momentum. But then process mining gives you the plays that you should be running to ensure that that momentum is moving in a positive direction and that you can consistently increase that momentum over time. Super important to bring those two things together, actually all three of these things together, and you have it at your disposal now. All right, let's get to that questions and answers. If you haven't been putting your questions in the Q&A section, now's the time to do that. So let's see what we've got here. Okay, so the first question is just validating where we can, how do we get to the process mining from the different widgets on the platform? So just to confirm, when you go to a performance analytics widget and you drill down into it, let's say it's a score widget with performance analytics, it takes you to something called the analytics hub if you're using the older dashboard. But if you're in the new platform analytics experience, it takes you to something called KPI insights. From the KPI insights or analytics hub, there's a little icon up at the top that you click that actually drills down and runs the process mining for that subset of data. So that's the performance analytics. From a reporting perspective, when you drill into a visualization that's an operational report, it takes you to a list view. From any list view, from the header menu of the columns, you have things like create a bar chart, pie chart, launch interactive analysis. One of the options, if you have the right role, will be launch process mining right from there. So that's the operational reports, the answer to that one. Let's get to the next question. This is a very common one that we get. Can process maps be run on virtual agent conversations? To my knowledge, no, because we're using the audit log data, but you can get a lot of information about you can mine the data that's come in via the virtual agent conversation and use that to kind of get an understanding of how the process performed based on stuff coming in via that channel. You can also use related list filters to focus in on things like, hey, you know what? It started as a virtual agent conversation, but then became a live agent chat. So there are things that you can do. Mapping the actual conversation structure itself is just not something that we use process mining for. Perfect. So a question of how much of what you showed here today are like out of the box capabilities that are available in Washington, D.C. So everything that you saw me show here today is available as part of the Washington, D.C. release. In terms of the IT service management suite, you do need to have entitlement to process mining though. And just so you know, process mining is available as an add-on to your ITSM professional entitlement, and it's also bundled with your ITSM enterprise. Process mining, for those that are not familiar, is available for IT or ITSM, customer service management, all the industry flavors of customer service management, HR, App Engine. So if you've created custom applications, you want to mine those, you can apply process mining to that. Field service management, strategic portfolio management. Am I missing any? Oh, and if you want to import external process data, you can import external process data into the ServiceNow platform and apply process mining to that as well. So lots of almost complete coverage from a process mining perspective, from a different workflow perspective. So the question about is process mining, have you seen people use process mining for the change process? Absolutely. We've seen people use process mining for the change process, mostly around conformance and looking for things that kind of are bypassing steps in the change process, or for incidents that were caused by a change, looking historically at, hey, what was the change process that actually allowed that change to get through? What were the approval steps? Are things slowing us down? Are there things that we could be making standard changes that are not currently standard changes? So yes, I've seen a number of different customers use process mining for the change process. Any other questions? I'm just going to jump over the chat and see if there's any questions in the chat, not the Q&A. Okay, good question. Of course, somebody's asking about the AI, and yes. What's interesting is process mining is very, very complementary to Now Assist, our generative AI solution on the ServiceNow platform, because the generative AI capabilities are there to help improve experiences for individuals within a given process, right? Summarize the notes on a transfer, let's say, or let's say it's kind of improve the intake experience for a catalog item via the virtual agent. All Gen AI capabilities and Now Assist are great for improving those experiences that somebody's having within a process. But process mining is great for showing us opportunities in which we can improve the entire process itself, right? It's one thing to improve the experience somebody has in terms of summarizing notes on a transfer from team to team, but are there ways in which we could reduce the number of transfers altogether? And it's great that Now Assist is helping us improve that intake experience via the virtual agent to request something. But you know what? If those requests are still getting stuck in an approval state for 2 days, that's still slowing us down. And process mining can show us those situations where we might have unnecessary approvals or long wait times for approvals. So lots of complementary, lots of complements. It's very complementary, the two, generative AI, Now Assist on the platform, and process mining. And there's ways in which we can use generative AI within process mining itself to help summarize the work notes around certain transfers and give us some visibility into what actions we could take to improve the process there. So lots of opportunities to link the two things together. So thank you for answering or asking that question. All right, get your questions in. But before we wrap up here today, I'll check the quick Q&A one more time. But as you're getting your questions in, just want to make you aware of some additional resources that are out there. One, there is a Now Learning course called Process Mining Essentials that's available on the Now Learning site if you want. It's about 90 minutes self-paced. So if you do it at 2x speed, it's about 45 minutes. But it's a great foundational resource for you. We get a lot of questions about scaling process mining at your organization. One resource that's out there on the community is a Now on Now white paper about how we've approached process mining at ServiceNow and how we've scaled it internally. It also gives you some examples of some of the initial processes that we mined and the findings that we had. Change is one of the examples in that white paper for the person asking about change. We've now mined over 50 processes here at ServiceNow, or we're mining on a regular basis over 50 processes here at ServiceNow with process mining. You probably found this webinar via the community site, ServiceNow site. There is a process mining specific product hub that we centralize all our resources on that product hub. Any sort of recordings that we have, any enablement content that we have, any blog posts that we have, they are all centralized in that one place. So check that out. Also, we do check that product hub on a daily basis. The team checks multiple times a day to see if customers are submitting questions, and we try to get you an answer within 24 hours to any questions that you post there. We host something we call the Process Mining Academy on a monthly basis. In fact, right before this webinar, we were hosting this month's Process Mining Academy session. Also available via the community, you can register for it. There's about 26 recorded sessions now out there, deep dives into different aspects of the solution. Whole session just on process mining for HR, whole session just on process mining for strategic portfolio management, whole session just on those improvement opportunities and finding definitions. So lots of opportunities to learn there. We also have something we call the Process Mining Use Case Series. So like most things, process mining is a new muscle for a lot of folks. And when you're training a new muscle, it's helpful to have that little video that shows you how to do the exercise. We've got a series of 10 5-minute videos that walk you through how to do specific types of analysis with process mining, like SLA breach analysis, multi-hop analysis, things that are taking longer to route than resolve, like an idle time use case, on hold reason analysis. So there's 10 of these 5-minute videos out there, again, on the community site, really, really useful. And then we host the monthly office hours. So next week will be our third office hour session, just an open forum for customers to bring their questions. We'll get them answered, and you can sit in and listen and learn from other people's questions that they have. So lots of other resources for you to learn a little bit more about process mining moving forward. A couple of additional resources that I'll just call out that might be super helpful. One is we have an academy session specifically focused on extending the reach of process mining insights through platform analytics. It's much of what you saw here today, but we do a little bit of a deeper dive into that insights panel. And then there's something we posted. It's kind of like a beginner's curriculum to process mining. So guide to getting started with ServiceNow's process mining capabilities. It has everything from a 2-minute explainer to kind of get other people in the organization excited, an overview and a demonstration recording, a recording of how to create your first project, much like what we did here today, and then a recording of how to use the process mining workspace to dig in and find process improvement opportunities. All right, last chance for romance. Anybody got any additional questions that we haven't covered yet that you want to get in? We'll give you another minute or two to get those questions in there, and then we'll wrap up for the day. Not seeing any other questions coming in. So with one more question just came in. What are the most common mistakes when people begin using process mining? That's a great question. Actually, such a great question that we're planning on hosting another webinar session just on that topic alone. I will say, one of the mistakes that one of the more common missteps, let's not say mistakes, missteps that people make is that process mining is going to be magic. And that it's just going to tell us everything that we're supposed to do. And I always like to say that process mining is a verb. Somebody has to do it. So, it's one of these things where it's really easy, as you saw here today, to create a process mining project and get the initial visibility into where there might be opportunities to improve, but you're still going to have to use the workspace to dig in and identify what to do next. So it's, one of the things, the misconceptions that people have is that it's magic. I always like to compare it to, say, like every organization is a beach of inefficiencies. And what process mining is, it's kind of like the metal detector. You're going to walk around the beach and it's going to beep louder in certain places than it does in others. And that louder beeping is where you're going to start digging to find the gold that is the improvement opportunity, right? Process mining is just like that metal detector. It's going to show you with data, right, where your biggest opportunities are from basically showing you the time where the most inefficiencies and the most productivity is being lost. But you're still going to have to dig into the records to understand what's going on there and what actions we could take to improve that. But it's much better than not having the metal detector, right? And that's it's a huge time saver there. So that's one thing I think is a misconception that, hey, and that this is just going to be magic. There's going to be a little bit of effort, not in standing it up. Most customers can be up and running in a matter of 15 minutes once they turn the plugins on, but then they have to dig into the data. So that's one thing. The other one is that in order to scale this effectively, right, you want to educate people in the organization that this capability exists. One of the ways to make them aware is to start embedding it in the dashboards that you have out there. But you sort of want to treat this as almost like a program, right? To kind of do on a regular basis. You're going to not just process mine once and then never come back again. This has to be something you're doing continually. And the other mistake that I see is, or misstep that I see, is that when people do find stuff and they have success, maybe they put it into a PowerPoint presentation and they go to tell people what they found. That's not good enough, right? There's applications on the ServiceNow platform that help us capture, track, and prioritize these improvement opportunities we're finding and hold people accountable to acting on them. You need to be holding people in the organization accountable to acting on the analytics and the insights that process mining is telling you, because data is great, insights are fantastic, but if you don't act on them, you don't do what the data is telling you to do, then you recognize none of the value of the effort you put into the analysis. So that's another one, is they don't, sometimes we see organizations don't have, a level of sponsorship at the leadership level to actually drive and hold people accountable to acting on the insights that process mining is telling you. Hope that was useful, and we're going to have a whole session on that moving forward. Are there specific use cases for strategic portfolio management that can be shared? Or yes, I would say go check out the Process Mining Academy. And there's an academy session specifically on process mining for strategic portfolio management. It's about an hour recording. I'm partnering with James Ramsey, who's on our strategic portfolio management product team. He drives the conversation there. He calls out a number of different use cases. A lot of the initial use cases that we see, it's focusing on how things are moving through the demand funnel and the demand process. But he does go into an example of getting it in a higher and getting visibility into the entire value chain as part of that session. So I'd check that one out if you haven't already checked it out. Yeah. So a question just based on my last comment, somebody said, wait, there's a way to track the improvements within ServiceNow? And yes, 100% there is a way. There's a couple of different applications that you could use on the platform, and they're both connected directly to the process mining workspace. There's an application called Continual Improvement Management, and that allows you to capture improvement initiatives, assign tasks from them, align KPIs to them, align process mining improvements and insights to them. Kind of acts as a hub, of what needs to happen to improve something. And then you can actually, report on that and say, look at how that improvement initiative is being run. It's one of the things that we do here at ServiceNow is we feed that continual improvement management application on the platform. And then there's a bi-weekly review with our leadership and the process owners to kind of see, hey, are we taking the necessary steps to actually complete this improvement initiative that was found by something we were doing within analytics or within process mining? So that's one application, continual improvement management. Then you also have Automation Center, which is more geared for putting in automation requests and then tracking that we've implemented that automation and the return on investment that we're getting from that automation. They're both linked from the process mining workspace. So you can kind of tie those things back to, hey, now we made this change. Let's see the value that we're getting at it. And is it making the impact that we expected? There's a question that came in that's a little vague. Just is that an add-on? Continual improvement management, I do not believe is an add-on. Every customer that I've worked with has had it. Now, mind you, I'm typically dealing with customers at the pro level and above. So I don't know if it's available in standard. But if you're at the professional level of, let's say, ITSM or HR or customer service management, I know that continual improvement management is available. Any last questions? This is great. Glad we saved some time for all these questions. Any other questions that you want to get at before we turn into a pumpkin here today? If not, just want to thank everyone for their time. The recording will be posted. We look forward to interacting with you on those Process Mining Academy sessions, the office hours. But really appreciate your time and attendance here today. Hope you got some value out of the session. See you next time.